today I figure I'd give you guys a ranking of the Rambo films from worst to best. This is a series starring Sylvester Stallone, one of which I've always enjoyed, and it's, well, probably most definitely his biggest franchise outside of Rocky. So without further ado, I figure I'd give you guys my list. Coming in fifth place, and somewhat controversially maybe, is Rambo First Blood Part 2. The sequel to First Blood, 1985's Rambo First Blood Part 2, continues the adventures of John Rambo, this time returning to Vietnam to save some POWs who have been there since the war ended. The story is actually not bad, and James Cameron actually worked on the script at some point, but it's such a departure from the original film that it doesn't work as well as, I'd hope it would. It is an entertaining film, and if you're looking for action, this is a really good film, but I feel like this was a major tonal shift, which basically the series became. Still do really like it, but I do have to put it in last place. I think the pacing's a little off. I don't care too much for the villains, but an enjoyable film still. Coming in at number 4 is Rambo Last Blood. The most recent Rambo film, 2019's Rambo Last Blood, sees our hero, John Rambo, living the good life in Arizona on his farm when his surrogate niece, or daughter, however you want to look at it, is kidnapped by the Mexican cartel. Rambo must throw himself back into action to save the day. This film is brutal. Lots of kills, lots of gore, tons of violence. It's just really, really intense. It is a bit simple, though. The plot is essentially just taken. Liam Neeson movie. But if you want to see Rambo going all out in his 70s, this is the film for you. I feel it's actually kind of underrated, and I think it gets too much hate. It's rather enjoyable. Coming in at number 3 is 2008's Rambo, the fourth film in the series. This film came out a full 20 years after Rambo 3 and sees Rambo fighting with the rebels in Burma against the corrupt military. It's intense, really, really gruesome, really over the top. But my biggest problem with this film is that it can get a bit gratuitous. Although 5 is really violent, this one, it gets a bit disturbing. There's women getting assaulted, children being killed. It does not hold back and shows you some of the really brutal aspects of war, but it can be a bit stomach churning, honestly. I mean, if you're the kind of person who has a light stomach or don't like to see innocent people getting hurt, even in fiction, I would not recommend this version. However, if you can stomach that, maybe give it a shot. It's really violent. Like I said, it's really gruesome, really disturbing, but very entertaining all the same. Coming in at number 2, and probably very controversially, is Rambo 3. I know a lot of people don't like this one, and this is kind of like the black sheep of the franchise, but I very much enjoy the action, over-the-top nature of this one. Released in 1988, this at the time was the most expensive movie ever made. That didn't last long, it was quickly overtaken, but that's still impressive that Stallone made the most expensive movie ever in the 80s. This time, Rambo is fighting against the Russians again, just like he was in First Blood Part 2. But this time he's helping out some Afghan rebels who are essentially, as he puts it, fighting our war for us. But, the rebels he's helping out are actually based on a real group who are our allies at the time, but they later became the real-life Taliban. There was even a disclaimer in the movie thanking the actual group, but ever since the terror attacks in the early 2000s, they changed that to just say, kudos to the people of Afghanistan, which I can kind of understand. The film is crazy. It's over the top, and it ends with a tank versus helicopter battle, and has Rambo riding around on horse, wasted MFers. It's just great. I know a lot of people don't like this one, but for me, it's over the top and crazy, and it's just such an '80s movie that is so dated, but in an amazing way. I have a blast with Rambo 3, and I very much enjoy it. Which leads me to number one, the one that started it all, First Blood. Released in 1982, this film shows a returning war veteran, Rambo, who's just passing through, trying to see his friend, who he sadly learns has passed away after they both left Vietnam. He then is harassed by a local sheriff, and all hell breaks loose after that. He's essentially hunted by the National Guard and townsfolk. He just wreaks havoc in this small town, kicking ass and taking names. But surprisingly, the film doesn't really have much of a body count. Only one person gets killed in the whole movie. But, it's still really awesome. Still has a lot of good action, and it's more of a drama than the other films in this series. Unfortunately, in more recent years, people have to kind of ignore this one, it seems. At least that's what I've noticed. But for me personally, I think this is the best one of the whole franchise. It does lack in action compared to the other ones, but it's a real drama and really does show what a lot of those veterans went through when they got home. A lot of people spit on them, call them all sorts of names and crap. And this is really a timeless kind of movie. And really one that helped jumpstart Stallone's career even more after the success of the first 2 or 3 Rocky films at this point. Ultimately, if you like a good drama with some good action thrown in there, you can't go wrong with First Blood. Well, that's my ranking. I know it may not be the most typical ranking, but that's how I feel about the films. There's even been talks of a potential 6th movie, which I don't really think is needed. But if Stallone does decide to bring John Rambo back to the big screen, you can bet your ass I'll be there opening night. An enjoyable franchise, and one that will go down as a timeless classic, I feel. If you haven't seen these movies, I recommend checking them out. They're fun, they're crazy, they're violent, but they are awesome. So, thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, let me know, and leave your list down below. Peace out.